right. Well, it's another week, and I guess it's another Accordion Cool, and I'm not another Coach Dave. I'm still the same one, I think, unless something happened during the week. Well, today's show, it's a little different. We're going to take a little trip. And which was the reason for that first song called Around the World. Now, we're not necessarily going to go around the world, but we'll take a little trip around. Now, that song, of course, came from the movie Around the World in 80 Days from 1956, when a young character, I always remember this character's name, Phineas T. Fogg. And Phineas T. Fogg took a hot air balloon and went around the world. So now, for those of you who remember that, you may say, wait a minute, Coach Dave, that song didn't quite sound like the movie soundtrack. Well, no, it didn't. And for those of you who are frequent watchers, and I hope there's many of you, you do know that Coach Dave doesn't really play waltzes. And as I've said time and time again, waltzes are nice, but they're just, too dainty and pretty. You just can't do a lot of stuff with them. So Coach Dave plays a bunch of waltzes, but he does them in what we call 4/4 time. And that's exactly what I just did with that song, because it was originally written as a waltz. So, well, we're going to talk a little bit about the moon today. And of course, you've all heard the saying, once in a blue moon. I'm not really sure what a blue moon is or what you have to do to get one. But a couple of fellows wrote a song about blue moon in 1934, songwriter Tina Rogers and Hart. Richard Rogers wrote the music, and Lorenz Hart wrote the words and lyrics to the songs. And they got commissioned to write a song. It's going to be part of a movie. So they wrote this song. Whole project fell through. Put it back on the shelf. Maybe a year or so later, 6 months, well, there's a knock on the door. Hey, guys, I understand you got a great song, and I got this project going on, and I can really use it. But there's only one thing. He says, can you write new words and lyrics? So Lorenz Hart says, yeah, okay, no problem. So they rewrote all the words. Guy took the song, loved it. His project fell through. Well, this happened two more times. The last guy walked in, said, got this great project, love the song. And they were saying, yeah, but what? And he said, well, he says, can you write some new lyrics? And of course, Lorenz Hart was ready to hit him over the head with some. He said, okay. This was the charm, and the tune became Blue Moon, a standard, jazz standard, pop standard through the years. Even Elvis did Blue Moon. There was a rock and roll version of Blue Moon. Well, I won't say it was bad, but it would be best forgotten. So here is a little bit. Well, okay, I'll do the whole thing. Had to get my right sound here. A little bit of Blue Moon. Here we go. 1934 or so. That's where it started, this little journey. Well, we are going to take a little trip for this next song. We're going to go all the way up to a New England state, all the way up to Vermont. This song was written in 1944. I don't think it was written for any show or anything, or play. A couple of fellows sat down and said, hey, let's write a song about Vermont. They said, okay. And the funny thing about this song is the words don't rhyme. You know how in music one line rhymes, you know. And they didn't realize that till they got through the first part of the song. And then they said, what the heck, let's write the whole song like that. So, and it's not the official song of Vermont, kind of the unofficial song of Vermont. So, little, I don't know, how about some moonlight in Vermont? Moonlight in Vermont. Well, this next tune is also one of those tunes that was written as a waltz, but again, you know. And I remember I was on a gig a while back, and a woman came up and says, can you play Moon River? And I said, yeah, I can, but you may not like the way I'm playing. And she said, it doesn't matter. She says, I just love that song. And so she didn't shoot me or anything, and I'm still here, so I guess she liked the way I played Moon River, which came from a movie called Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961, written by Henry Mancini. Now, I think if Henry heard me play the song the way I play it, he may be spinning in his grave, but sorry, Henry. Excuse me. And I don't think there was a place or a river named Moon River. Now, since the song, they may have named a river somewhere, but to my knowledge, no, Moon River's just a song. So let's see what we get. Here we go. forgot to mention, Moon River also won a Grammy, and it is in the Grammy Hall of Fame also. So it got around. It got around, and I don't think that version's in the Grammy Hall of Fame. But that's too bad. All right, our next tune, written in 1934. It appeared in a movie in the 1950s, I believe, and gets confused with the song that was the theme from that movie. The name of the song is Moonglow. The movie was Picnic. Now, there is a song, the theme from Picnic, which I don't happen to do, but that's okay. And a lot of times, people will hear Moonglow and say, oh, that's from Picnic. Well, it was in the movie, but it wasn't the theme song of the movie. So from 1934, one of the all-time standards, Moonglow, Moonglow. So we don't have to go too far in our little trip to find some Moonglow, especially over the water or things like that. So here we go. Moonglow. Also from Picnic, but not the theme of Picnic. Well, we got a couple of extra minutes here today. I thought we might have. So we can take a little trip to an observatory somewhere. And if we go in there and talk to them about the moon, they can tell us. If we ask them the question, how high is the moon, they can tell us. 240,000 miles away, yeah. More than 50 years ago, we put men on the moon. Yep, yep. So, little tune called, oh yeah, How High the Moon. So let's see what we end up with here. Let me get a little different sound. Here we go. How high the... That's be a good, I think I've said this before, good Jeopardy question. You know, I always give the answers. You know, the answer, 240,000 miles. Question, how high the moon? Yeah, but nobody listens to me, so... Well, we are now getting down towards the end of our time. And, you know, we've been all around, you know, different places here and looking at the moon and different, you know, in Vermont and maybe on the ocean or on a lake or something. But what we could do, which would really top it off, is we could fly up there, right? The song written in 1954, another song written as a waltz. Its original title was In Other Words. A fellow named Sinatra came around in '64, and he liked the song, but you know, Frankie's not going to sing any of those silly waltzes. So this actually was the song that started the whole changing 3/4 to 4/4 thing. And it was in '64 or so, and a little tribute to the Apollo mission, which went to, oh yeah, the moon, yes. That's when we put some men on the moon and we brought them back. Can't get them back from the space ship, what do you call it? Yeah, space station now, but what the heck, we got them back from the moon. So a little Frankie Sinatra, fly me to the moon. Here we go. Fly me to the moon, fly me to the moon. Well, that's just about run out of time for today's show. As usual, thank you all for watching, listening, tuning in, streaming. However it is you get this show, we appreciate you all watching. And you know what I'm going to say about those young'uns. They don't hear tunes like I just played today on the radio these days, that's for sure. So bring them in, as I always say, not because I'm playing them, but because of the tunes themselves. And, of course, the big guy behind the glass, Austin Ricketts, who makes me sound good if I sound good. And before the show, I always go through the different sounds I'm going to use. And he asked me any more sounds, and I forgot to tell him there was one more I thought I might use, but I didn't want to see him, come screaming out of the control room with tears running down his face. So, Austin, I didn't use that sound this week. So, once again, Coach Dave saying, see y'all next time, and let's go home with, I don't know, how about flying to the moon? Here we go.